Hello crafters, I'm Jan B and I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator. Today I'm going to show you how I made this thank you card. It's the thank you card I made for my April online customers, and although it looks like quite a plain straightforward card, there are two things here that I want to show you. Nowadays I use my Stamparatus to make my thank you cards because it really has speeded up the process for me. The two things that I want to show you is one, how I coloured the flowers, and the other one is how I stamped off to get the lighter background. Both really very easy, but because the Stamparatus is quite new, I thought that any time I do something like this I would make a video to show you how to do it so that you can get the most out of your Stamparatus. I'm going to use my note cards. These come as a pack of 20 with 20 envelopes. I tend to leave mine open until after I've done my working, but you will see that they are scored down the middle. So the first thing I'm going to do is bring my Stamparatus in. And I'm going to remove that piece of grid paper because I was using that experimenting with something, but has nothing to do with the card that I'm going to show you. So first of all, I put my card into the corner. These brackets, magnets that I have here are the ones that I use for my boxes that if I'm making a box and I want a magnet closure. This is one of the larger sizes, but what I do is I just put 3 of them together, and then I use my bigger one, which is one of those that comes with the Stamparatus, just to hold the whole thing in place. Now the first thing I'm going to do is, the stamp set I'm using is called Love What You Do, and this is the one that's on offer as a bundle until 31st of May. After that you can still get all the bits and pieces that are in the bundle, but you can't get it as a bundle and get the free bits and pieces that go with it. So if you're interested in seeing that, do pop online to my Stampin' Up shop to find out what it's all about. The link will be in the box below. So what I'm going to be using for this card is that background stamp, that little background stamp, the thank you, and these flowers. So what I do first of all is I get the background stamp lined up. You may notice that you can actually see the imprint of the flowers on my stamp. That's because I did so many of them, and I did it the other way round. I stamped the flower first and then this. If you want to avoid that, then do this stamping first. And that's the way I'm going to do it now, so that you can follow the process without getting that mark onto your stamp. I mean, it doesn't affect my stamp at all, but I'm just going to show you how to avoid it anyway. Right, so if I bring this down as close as possible, I've got you zoomed out quite a lot so that hopefully, in fact I'm going to have to move you over, aren't I, because I found this before with my Stamparatus. I collided with the legs on my tripod there. So let's see, that's okay. Let's move you back a little bit. Yes, that's fine now. Right, I think you're going to be able to see everything from here. So first of all, the background stamp, put it into the position I want, bring forward my plate so it picks up the stamp, and I also have here some scraps of paper. It's just used paper which I've cut in half. For UK this is half of A4. If you use letter size, half of that will be fine. I'm just going to use it on top like that for my stamping off. Now the colours that I'm going to be using, this is the box I keep my ink spots in, because I find it's easier using these small ones rather than the full-size ink pad, although on this one it wouldn't be so bad because it's quite a chunky stamp, but I still prefer to use these small ones. So I'm using Sahara Sand, Rich Razzleberry, and Basic Black. Now I also have these little finger daubers that I use to attach to these. Now if you want to know how I made this box with these departments in and that little line at the back for the daubers and how I made the daubers, check out my video number 346. Right, so just to show you how these work, let's do the Sahara Sand first. I've got a little Velcro dot at the back there. These are the hooks and these are the loops. So you just pop that onto there. Remove the lid. I've also put the colour on the bottom half. I obviously know what the lid is, but with this it makes sure that I don't put them away incorrectly. So first what I'm going to do is put my scrap of paper in place. It doesn't matter about the magnets because it is really just the scrap paper that matters at the moment. So I'm just inking that up. Now I'm going to stamp off. Okay, so that's taken off the worst of it. Far too dark for what I want. So now I can give this a press down. There we go. Maybe not quite as dark as I would like, because I'm talking and describing what I'm doing. That has come up lighter, but I'm going to do 3 cards so that you can see next time. I will just do it as if I was doing my little conveyor belt here. So the next one is, I mean, you could wish to do a trial one first anyway. So I'm going to put my flower stamp there. So that looks as if it's about centre in my card there. And then the thank you stamp. So again, make sure that's about in the centre and sort of straight. Okay, so now I'll bring my other plate over, pick these 2 up, and I will do the Rich Razzleberry first because that one, that ink doesn't dry quite as quickly. Okay, so there we go, Rich Razzleberry, and then on this one, the Basic Black. Now I'm going to do this without talking so that I don't get bad impressions here. I'll ink the black, no, I'm going to ink the Rich Razzleberry first on here, and then the Basic Black on here, and then close it over. If it is too light, then I can just come back and redo it, or if I don't press hard enough on it, or on this one, even if I talk too long, I can come back and redo it. I couldn't on the Sahara Sand because that was the one that I'd stamped off. I could if I re-inked it, stamped off, and then went back to it. But it's not so light that I think it spoils it. Okay, so that's not quite dark enough, and neither is that bit there. Okay, so let's just ink that up again. And where was it? It was up this bit here, wasn't it? That wasn't quite enough. There we go. Now what I do to colour the flowers, I have this little stamp. Now I'm going to do it on here, just make sure I don't have any magnets underneath it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ink up my little stamp, and I'm going to line this up so it's on the edge down here. Now it's going to come over, and then I am going to stamp again for the second half. Okay, so you see the first half has got first generation stamping, and then the second one has got second generation or stamped off, and you will see that I have gone over the edge. I didn't get my paper piercer, so let me just reach that out of the drawer. But you will see from this bit here that is all over the edge. But for the overall effect, it really doesn't matter. You'll see that as well when I do these. So let's do another one. So got my stamp, got my ink. The only thing I am making sure is that on the left hand side of each flower I'm doing the solid stamp, and then on the right hand side is the stamped off. Okay, so the solid stamp I'm doing on the left hand side, and then the stamped off I'm doing on the right hand side. Okay, so that's what it looks like close up. You can see bits that I haven't stamped in the flower, and you can see bits that I've gone over the edge. But that is part of the design of this very relaxed card. Okay, so it might be difficult, but I'm going to see if I can do one complete card without talking. Just get my magnets back into place. Right, let's move those out of the way. Got my scrap paper ready. Right, let's see, go for it. Much better. Now I'm going to do these. Again, no talking. There we go. Perfect. First time. I didn't get much ink in there, that bit there, and there's a bit up there that's missing. But as I say, this is a very relaxed design, and I'm really not unduly worried about that. Let's move these out of the way, and I'm going to do my flowers. This time I'm going to do the solid stamp on the other side, and then the stamped off flower on this side. It really doesn't matter, and you don't really have to do all three flowers the same. I do, not sure why, but tidy mind, I suppose. There we go. Okay, so you can see white bits, you can see where I've gone over the edge. So that's that one, and the third one. The other thing about where you're stamping off, that obviously also depends on how wet your ink pad is. So that may be, this one rather, may be drying out now. Right, what do we do? Let's ink it up first. Let's give it a little bit of a harder press. And that looks as if it's getting a better coverage. Right. Same bit of scrap paper again. Move that out of the way, bring this back down again. Also have to bear in mind that normally I would have my head over this pressing down, but I really don't like my head coming in the camera. There we go, much better. Okay, that's because I had pressed that much harder with this onto my stamp and got a lot more ink out of it. Right, now we'll do these two. And you can probably see that I've got ink on my plate there, but it is no risk to your cardstock because there's no way it's getting anywhere near there. Okay, I just need to check this because the light shining on it from where I'm sitting, it's not taking the ink all over, but when I tilt it I can see much better. Right, so that's that. All I need to do now is to do my flowers. Right, I'm going to do them totally random now. Just prove that I can. Okay, that was left then right. This one's going to be right then left. And right and left again. So we've got a good mix there. See, it doesn't look right or wrong, does it? Whichever way you do it. So there we go. There's my 3 of my thank you cards. All pretty much alike. But you can see the variations on it, like with the stamping off the background. I definitely prefer this one here, without a doubt. Okay. I could have gone back and redone it, but it wasn't that bad. Now, I'm going to pop that into there so I can close that. I'm going to clean this afterwards. I just want to move this out of the way. Then I'm going to pop a piece of paper on there and then pop that on there. Okay, so we'll close that in a minute. I use my Stampin' Majigs quite a lot now, so I don't bother keep putting it back in the box. I did when I first started, but let me just pop these away because they are small and they will dry out quickly. I really recommend that you use these ink spots and that you get the refills for all your ink pads. It really is worthwhile. I mean, they're not expensive. I can't think of the price off the top of my head, but they're definitely not expensive. So there we go. And don't forget my tip about the box, the storage box, and also the little Daubers. Well, many thanks for joining me today. I don't think you can even see that, can you? No, not really. Many thanks for joining me today. I hope you've enjoyed this, and I hope you give it a try. If you would like to purchase any of the products that I featured here today, please click on the open up the box below and they'll all be in there. Depending what device you're watching on, you may have show more on the left hand side, or on the right hand side you might have 2 down buttons. So either click on show more or the second button and everything will be in the box below. So not only the products that I've used and all the code numbers, but also a link to my 24/7 online shop and all the other links if you want to join my Facebook group called Happy Stamping, where lots of demos are on there, demos and crafters who are sharing their projects So lots of ideas on there. I've also got a Facebook page that you can visit for more ideas, and of course my website. If you've enjoyed this video and would like to be notified each time I upload a new one, please subscribe to my YouTube channel by clicking on the subscribe button. Many thanks for joining me today. Until next time, happy crafting. Cheerio.